What's going on YouTube? It's Dave's Daily Trades, back with another update for AMC. Now we were down 0.56% today, but nonetheless, today was actually a great trading day. And we're going to be breaking down the technical reasons behind this. We're also going to be taking a look at 13 Fs that we're literally piling in this week. And to end the video, as always, we're going to be looking at unusual whales, breaking down that options flow, and making some predictions for how next week looks. Without further ado, let's roll right into that intro and hop into the technical analysis. And we're back. All right, folks. On yesterday's video, if you guys remember, we're talking about trading within this bull flag. Now, this was first established on 12/21, so just 2 days ago. And just for the past 2 days, we have been trading inside of this range. Now, this morning, early on, just about the first 30 minutes of trading activity, we were hammered down from just about 29.02 to 26.82. But nonetheless, two things perfectly happened from a technical perspective. A, we touched down on the bottom of our bull flag. And B, we touched down on a great support range right here at $26.80. Now, once we do zoom out to the 1 hour chart, you will see that this is a great range to have a bounce on, and why I do expect that next week is going to be fantastic. Now, for the rest of the trading day, we did recover right away from this bounce, literally bouncing from 26.82 from our low to a high of $29 and just call it 40 cents to be easy. So just about a $2.50 jump right there. Absolutely, we'll take it. And we did have some decent buy volume coming in through this time period. But for the rest of the day, not going to lie, chart was pretty boring to look at. We had volume dried up. We didn't really have a lot of movement. And of course, guys, max pain was at $29. So you know that they were not going to let us trade above $29 today. But nonetheless, guys, this was great. And I was very satisfied with trading today. Now, let's jump out to that 1 hour chart and really just go over the technical regions that we talked about. So as I said, that $26.80 range, this was tested first on 12/1, again over here on 12/3, again on 12/10. We touched this before moving back into our trading range here on 12/17, and then yet again today on 12/23. So nonetheless, this is a very strong support range here. Having this bounce, A, was a great reversal sign because it was bought up right away, and B, as we have been talking about this inverse head and shoulders pattern playing out. And this inverse head and shoulders pattern plays out very great. We have the first shoulder coming in right here from 12/1 all the way to 12/6. We have our head coming in at that low of $20.80, which of course also coincides with our terminal shakeout. Once you do recover from this, you have another retest. This retest is your second shoulder playing out here. Inverse head and shoulders is exactly the opposite of a head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is bearish. Inverse head and shoulders, extremely bullish, guys. So this is why I am very excited for next week and a couple regions that I am looking at. So of course, we do have this downward trend line established here on 12/1. We touched it on 12/1. We touched it on 12/8. We recently touched it here on 12/21. And I do believe we are going to start our fourth retest of this line come Monday. And as we all know, AMC loves to break those trend lines on the fourth test. And it just so happens that this is going to be our fourth test. So breaking out of this trend line, we do have an area that I do like to see filled here from just about $44 to $45.50, 50-ish, call it, getting back into our trading range. And let's actually jump into the chart here. We'll blow this up. All right, this looks great. So the reason why I do have this green box labeled here is we do have our selling climax, which was right here, in our sell test in phase B. Selling climax and sell test in phase B really establish that lower trading range. Now, we were briefly at the top of our trading range, of the lower trading range actually, on 1221, came down retest. That's your test phase right there. So that's why Monday, I do expect us to creep back up into the lower portion of our trading range before making one last retest here and then starting phase D. Now, just to throw the schematic on the screen, and just so you guys know, this website, I'll link it in the description. This is how I personally find out about max pain. And for AMC, they always like to push us under it. But let me actually pull off the Wyckoff schematic. And here we are, where we talked about selling climax, sell test in phase B. We already got that retest here. And what I do believe is going to be happening is that push up back into the trading range, that 34 to 35.50 area, a last retest of 32, which coincides with your selling climax, before moving into phase D. So I think this right here, this push up and then retest is going to happen in the earlier portion of the week. And then later in the week, we are going to start establishing our first push into phase D. So that's great. Absolutely bullish for next week. Of course, though, we're going to take this day by day and break it down from a technical perspective for you folks. But there's a lot of other things going for us. So I do want to draw your attention here to Fintel. Now, what we saw this week was quite interesting. And even especially today, we had all of these 13Fs filed on 12/23, 12/22, and 12/21, and even one on 12/20. Even freaking Nationwide. Nationwide is on our side. I love it. But seeing this is great to see, because where we're at right now in the accumulation schematic, we should absolutely start to see these institutions pile in, because that is exactly the way the common man, or the composite man styles this whole accumulation schematic. So seeing that the institutions are piling into this while volume is still relatively low is a great freaking sign. And that is really why the OBV is at levels that we saw back here when we were trading in the mid 50 range. So institutions are bullish on it. You know, the apes are still here in this fight, and they're not freaking going anywhere. So guys, this is the start of everything. We've already got our lows in. We've got our test. Phase D is coming soon. Now, 13Fs look good. Who do we have on it, though? Well, of course, we do have JP Morgan. We did have, let's see here, Charles Schwab for a couple over here. Bank of New York Mellon, Goldman Sachs again, Fidelity. And then, of course, some random no-name people. We got Nationwide that we talked about. Pumped about that. Love having Nationwide on our side. And Vanguard, of course, as well. But, guys, nonetheless, seeing institutions pile in, I'd like to see it. Now, looking at the options data for AMC, not a lot to talk about today. But a few good things is we did see some calls being purchased. We saw some puts being sold. And that's always a great thing when the bullish activity outweighs the bearish. Now, jumping into the flow levels for today, we had the number of calls sitting here at 55%, volume right around 55% again. But the biggest thing I want to talk about is the breakdown for expirations and the specific strikes that are being targeted. So 12/31, we did have a decent amount of activity going on. That's always great because that's next week. And of course, as we just discussed from the technical breakdown, seeing bullish activity for next week really coincides with our thesis that we're going to have a great freaking week next week. So we'll see what happens, of course. But also, we do have that 121.22 expiration that has been incredibly bullish for months on end now. So that is great. And then after that, things kind of die out, and the bears really have a lot of activity around that 120.23. But nothing to worry about that. Anyways, 12/31 next Friday and 121. Look fantastic. Breaking it down by strike, we could see the bulls were in control at $25. That's why we bounced off that 26.80 range and just flew right up. We also had some bullish activity at $30. We had bullish activity at $35. And look at this. We're getting a decent activity at the $145 and $95 strikes. That is great to see. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to hit $145 next week. It absolutely does not mean that. But these are just deep out the money plays, which just show that overall, that people are very bullish on this stock. But anyways, guys, I know today's video was short, but I'm just super excited about next week. And I do want to say, spend some time with the family, spend some time with the friends, enjoy the weekends, get away from the charts, and just live your life. I wish you all a great holiday season. We'll be back on Monday, and until then, enjoy your time. Peace out, guys.